It's time for the big number. .1%. That's the decrease in charitable donations reported by Giving USA in their newest report, one adjusted for inflation. And while we can debate the nuances of this particular report, signals something very important that's impossible to ignore anymore. It's a warning for nonprofits everywhere, a warning that trust in the sector is weakening and that significant declines in giving could be right over the horizon. It's about looking beyond the fact that overall giving is fairly stable right now to the signs of weakness that can easily manifest itself in significant declines long term. It's about reckoning with how the sector is relying more and more on a small group of wealthy donors, meaning that the loss of one key supporter can put your nonprofit at the risk of shutting down. It's about the fact that people are still giving. They're giving time, money, and talent to causes that they support every day, but they aren't necessarily giving to nonprofits. And it's about how, when they do give to nonprofits, it's too often a dead end. It's about how the typical supporter of a nonprofit organization is giving once and then never giving again. All of these things are threatening the long term viability of the nonprofit sector. They're the reason this alarm is ringing. And if we want this to stop, we're going to have to be prepared to make some big changes, starting with our approach to technology. Now, this isn't what it was supposed to be like. In fact, it was supposed to be the opposite. For years, decades even, we've been fed a story about how technology was going to usher in a golden age of philanthropy. Imagine a leader at a small local nonprofit who's juggling multiple responsibilities: fundraising, events, volunteer coordination, who's able to manage it all thanks to their team of digital assistants with technology at her fingertips that automatically personalizes all the thank you messages and schedules all the follow up calls with relevant notes and creates tailored appeals, not to mention 50 other meticulous, time consuming tasks that they take off her plate. Our leader can then focus on strategic planning and building meaningful connections with their supporters. That was the hope. And before I share what I've witnessed after personally working with over 1,000 nonprofits over my career at Near on One, I actually want to hear from you first. What hopes and dreams do you have around technology? What do you want to be able to do because of things working as expected? I'm going to give you a minute to answer here, and I'll take a closer look at your responses with Dana Snyder coming up in a few minutes. But Chris, why don't you join us, and can you quickly explain to our viewers how can they win today's pretty kick-ass prize?
Tim, check this out. I even brought a gimbal of my own here. Now, this is not the exact same product, but basically you turn this thing on, it will zip on and straighten your camera out so that you can film nice, smooth video. You can see the question there right above your head, Tim. And we really are, yeah, it's right there.
Up right there. Whoa, there we go. It's playing with the interface. Yeah.
Again, what hopes and dreams do you have around technology for your nonprofit? We want you in the comments to answer that question. I can actually put your comments on the screen. Like Ricci says, you just shared.
Yeah.
So Ricci is now going to be entered in on the Neon One wheel, which I'll reveal to you guys in a little bit. And at the end of the show, we're going to spin that wheel and pick a winner of a gimbal. So Tim, I'll throw it back to you. Let's get back to the big number.
Awesome. And looking back to our vision of the sector's tech-enabled future, we can see that the problems have actually been here all along. We were focused on taking the easy route, preferring hands-off digital solutions to the hard, sweaty work of building real, genuine connections with actual flesh and blood people. Now, instead of thriving communities of supporters, what most organizations can be better described is a pile of individual isolated givers, profiles sitting in a nonprofit database and nothing more. While our approach to technology helped get us here, it wouldn't be accurate to describe technology as the problem that sits at the heart of the generosity crisis. The story goes a little like this: the lack of connection that we fostered with our tech enabled approach has created a real lack of trust amongst supporters. And it's that lack of trust that's fueled the generosity crisis. And trust is a fragile thing, even in the best of times. And this isn't the best of times. Institutional trust is at a all-time low across the board. And it's so long as we're continuing to treat supporters like mere transactions instead of full-fledged partners in our mission, that erosion of trust will continue. And this isn't just an operational issue, it's a moral one. The very fabric of nonprofit missions is at risk as the lifeblood of these organizations, genuine, passionate supporters, drifts away, disillusioned and disconnected. Now, imagine the countless potential supporters who turn away because they feel unseen and unvalued. Picture the long term supporters who become disheartened because their contributions seem to vanish in the void, unacknowledged and underappreciated. And misalignment of goals and assets accelerates staff burnout as well. To pull the sector back from the brink of collapse and set us on a more sustainable path for all, we need to focus first and foremost on rebuilding this trust. And we can rebuild that trust by focusing on what we call the generosity experience. It's not all bummer stuff here, folks. We have solutions and ways out. And so we think, simply put, that the generosity experience is the emotional connection a supporter has with your nonprofit, one that's formed by every single interaction that they have with the organization. Any touch point that a supporter has with your nonprofit, just glancing at social media posts, opening your emails, attending your events, visiting your online giving page for the first time, forms another branch in their overall generosity experience. Let's take a look. Oh, we got a lot of comments going here as well. Very cool. Okay, we got up Carrie. I want to see new technologies embraced from the top down. I want everyone at my organization and nonprofits everywhere to feel empowered and comfortable using the tech tools available to us. Love that. And just like what Carrie said, each interaction works to shape that emotional connection. A connection that can be weak, it can be strong, it could be healthy, it could be toxic. That could be very simple or can be very complicated. On a more practical level, those interactions are a result of the actions taken by your staff, by your tech tools, and the supporters themselves. In order for a supporter to be moved by an email, for example, somebody has to write that copy, and the software needs to be used to create and send it. And then your supporter has to actually open the email, read it, and maybe follow its call to action. And in order to resolve the overall generosity crisis, nonprofits need to be forging genuine connections with their supporters, the kinds of connections that foster mutual trust and lay the groundwork for that long term support. But how can they build these connections? By remaining laser focused on generosity experiences that are personable, memorable, and communal. That's a big piece here. So let's pause again. I'll move myself over here. I love adaptive adventures there. I see Deanna's. I want technology to help people feel truly connected to the change that they're helping to fund. And we've talked about this in other episodes too, right? That people don't give to you, they give through you. And so it's all well and good to say all of this. But after a decade of working in nonprofit technology, I've learned that we need to rethink our approach on how we even design these experiences. And you, as a nonprofit leader, have limited capacity, even feel comfortable dreaming big. If you're like me, when I was first starting out as a grant writer, I felt overwhelmed and I didn't even know what resources to trust to even begin to dream, let alone dream big. Dreaming big should not be an exercise in futility. And that is why I'm excited for the special week of events that we have planned beyond today's special show. We have 4 days of practical and actionable workshops over the course of the week, each day only asking 60 minutes tops of your attention. Yet in return, you're going to gain long term strategic guidance on how to think about technology and coaching on essential topics like donor retention, direct mail, and workflow automation, and all with the chance to connect with fellow leaders like yourselves. While I hope you can join us at Dream Big this week, I'm also thrilled to be setting the tone with today's special episode. It's time for us to put people before money, focus on making our moments magical with supporters, and ultimately putting technology in its rightful place as a part of our team, fully aligned with our goals and objectives. Now, my hope is that the reason you're spending time with us during Generosity Experience Live and events like Dream Big is because you're looking to get better at your work and designing and forging these human connections. The giveaways are fun, but the real reason we're here is to help you. That's why I'm excited to welcome our first guest, Kyra Smith. She does this type of work day in and day out for our clients at Neon One, and she's going to join us right after we hear a little bit more about this month's giveaway.